Hello everyone and welcome back. In our last video, we started with the lesson A Day's Wait. This is a very popular, a very famous short story written by Ernest Hemingway. And the main character of this story is Shaz, who's a 9-year-old boy, and his father, and the story has been narrated by his father. So, in our last session, we started with the lesson where we read that it was a cold winter morning and the little boy, the 9-year-old boy, Shaz, he was down with high fever. He looked very pale and he had a severe headache. So when he told his father, the father touched his forehead and found that he was down with fever, and immediately a doctor was called. The doctor came and checked his temperature. He was down with 102-degree fever and he was given medicines. Now how many capsules was he given? Yes, he was given 3 capsules. Now we'll proceed further. One was to bring down the fever. So one capsule was to bring down the fever. So, this capsule would control his fever. His fever would not further rise high. Another a purgative. So the second one was a purgative. Now what's a purgative? It's a pill it's a medicine to clear the stomach. The third, to overcome an acid condition. So what was the purpose of the third capsule which was given to him? Yes, so that his digestion remains proper. There's no acidic condition in his stomach, right? Now why? Let's find out. The germs of influenza, right? So he was down with viral fever, influenza. So the germs of influenza can only exist in an acidic condition. He explained. So the doctor explained that the germs of influenza can exist only in acidic condition. So the third pill was given to maintain his, the stomach, the function of stomach remains proper. There's no acid in the stomach, because if there would be acid, then the germs would again exist over there. He seemed to know all about influenza and said there was nothing to worry about if the fever did not go above 104 degrees. So the doctor explained, the doctor had a thorough knowledge of influenza, and he explained the father that everything is fine, there's nothing to worry. He is not, he is not very serious. The child is not in a serious condition, right? And everything would be fine. He's going to be fine. But the temperature should not rise above 104 degrees. This was a light epidemic of flu, and there was no danger if you avoided pneumonia. Please underline the word pneumonia. So the doctor said that it was, a viral fever going on, a light epidemic of viral fever, and the child would be absolutely fine if his temperature, if his body temperature, remains below 104 degree and it doesn't turn into pneumonia, right? Back in the room, I wrote the boy's temperature down and made a note of the time to give the various capsules. So after explaining everything, the doctor left, and the father again came back to the room, and he wrote the boy's temperature, that is 102 degree. He noted it down, and he also made a note of time when those medicines have to be given to the child. Do you want me to read to you? So now here the father asks the child whether he would tell him a story, whether he would read out a story to him. Now why is he asking? Because so that to comfort the child, make the child feel comfortable, and after maybe while reading the story, while telling the story, the child goes off to sleep. "All right, if you want to," said the boy. So the boy said, "Fine, if you want to, you can read me out a story." His face was very white and there were dark areas under his eyes. So his face was very white. That means he looked very dull. He looked very pale. Now why was it? Because he was down with high fever. And there were dark areas under his eyes. So he looked very weak and very pale. He lay still in the bed and seemed very detached from what was going on. So he lay still in the bed, no movement, he was not paying attention to what the father was saying. He seemed very detached. He was not listening to the story. Whatever was going on. And what was going on? The father was reading him a story. But was he listening to his father? No, he was very detached. He was not paying attention. Now, why was it so? Because there was something going on in his mind. I read aloud from Howard Pyle's Book of Pirates, but I could see he was not following what I was reading. So the father noticed that he was reading, although he was reading out a story. And which story was he reading? Howard Pyle's Book of Pirates. But was the child listening to the story? No. And the father could easily understand that he was not paying attention at all. "How do you feel, Shaz?" I asked him. So the father asked Shaz how he was feeling. "Just the same, so far," he said. So Shaz replied that almost the same. I sat at the foot of the bed and read to myself while I waited for it to be time to give another capsule. So I sat at the foot of the bed. That means he sat in the corner of the bed and read to myself. So it seemed as if he was reading to himself only, because Shaz was not listening to the story. While I waited for it to be time to give another capsule. So the father was actually waiting to give another capsule. It would have been natural for him to go to sleep. So in a natural way, children often go off to sleep while hearing a story. While listening to a story, children normally go off to sleep. But Shaz was not sleeping. So he was neither listening to the story nor was he sleeping. But when I looked up, he was looking at the foot of the bed, looking very strangely. So when his father looked at him, the father noticed that he was looking at the foot of the bed, and he gave strange looks, as if he was thinking, as if he was troubled from within. Something wrong was going in his mind. "Why don't you try to go to sleep? I'll wake you up for the medicine." So the father told the boy that you should go to sleep, right? And when it's time for medicine, I'm going to wake you up. "I'd rather stay awake." So the boy answers that he would stay awake. He would not sleep. After a while, he said to me, "You don't have to stay in here with me, Papa, if it bothers you." So after some time, after a while, the child he tells the father that if he wishes, he may go, right? If there's something which is bothering him, the child says that if there's something which is bothering him, he may go from the room. "It doesn't bother me." Bother means troubles. So the father replies that there's nothing that is bothering him. "No, you don't have to stay if it's going to bother you." So the child says that you don't have to stay here. I'm fine. I'm absolutely okay. If there's something which is troubling you, you may go. You don't have to stay here. I thought perhaps he was a little light-headed, and after giving him the prescribed capsules at 11 o'clock, I went out for a while. So the father did not take it so much seriously. Maybe he wants to stay alone for some time. This is what he thought. And after giving him the prescribed medicine, after giving him the capsule at around 11 o'clock, then he went out for some time. It was a bright cold day, so remember it was a winter morning. So it was a bright cold day, the ground covered with a sleet that had frozen so that it seemed as if all the bare trees, the bushes, the cut brush and all the grass and the bare ground had been varnished with ice. So it was a bright cold morning and the ground was all covered with ice, right? It seemed the snow had varnished everywhere. So everywhere it was covered with ice rather. And the ground was all covered with a sleet that had frozen. That is, the ground was covered with water that has turned into ice. The entire ground, everywhere rather, it was covered with ice. Everything frozen. And it seemed the ice had varnished, the ice had painted everywhere. I took the young Irish setter. Please underline Irish setter. Let us see the meaning. It's a breed of a dog. So he took his dog for a little walk up the road and along a frozen creek, but it was difficult to stand on or walk on the glassy surface, and the red dog slipped and slithered, and I felt twice hard. So let us first understand the meaning of creek. A creek is a narrow piece of water where the sea flows into the land. So it was a watery area basically. And it was very difficult to stand or walk over there because it was all frozen. The area was covered with ice, and therefore it had turned very slippery. He was not able to stand or walk on the glassy surface, on the smooth slippery surface, and the red dog slipped over there, and he himself also slided or slipped, and he fell down twice. He flushed a covey of quail under a high clay bank with overhanging brush, and I saw two as they went out of sight over the top of the bank. Flushed means caused a bird to rise and fly away suddenly in fear. So the birds flew away suddenly in fear. A covey of quail, a flock of quail. What's a covey? Covey means a small flock of birds, and quail is a small bird. So a covey of quail was there over there, and they all flew together. And the father saw two as they went out of sight over the top of the bank. So he could see two birds, but very soon they were out of sight. Some of the covey hidden trees, some of the birds hidden trees, but most of them scattered into brush piles. But most of the birds, they all scattered into the brush piles. Please underline brush piles. It means twigs and branches of trees stacked together. So the birds scattered over there. They out of fear, they all scattered over there. They flew away and scattered everywhere. At the house, they said the boy had refused to let anyone come into the room. So after this walk, he again came back home, and at home he found that the boy was still all alone. He did not allow anybody to enter into the room. "You can't come in," he said. "You mustn't get what I have." So he was not allowing anybody inside his room. Now why was it so? Because he thought that he is going to, there's something wrong with him, and he doesn't want the others also to catch the same disease, to get affected with the same disease. I went up to him and found him in exactly the position I had left him. So when the father went upstairs and went inside the room of the child, he found that the child was exactly in the same position as he had left him before. That is, before going for the walk, whatever status was there, whatever the condition of the child was, it was the same right now. No change in position, no change at all inside the room. Everything was same, and especially with the child also, everything remained the same. White-faced, but with the tops of his cheeks flushed by the fever, staring still as he had stared at the foot of the bed. So he was still looking pale, he was still looking dull, white-faced, and remember, while he was narrating him the story, while he was telling the story, the child was not listening to him, and what was he doing? He was staring at the foot of the bed and he was thinking something. So same was the condition. He was still looking, he was still staring at the foot of the bed and thinking of, engrossed in a deep thought. I took his temperature. What is it? So he again recorded the temperature. He again took the body temperature. What is it? Something like 100. So the child asked the father what was the temperature now. The father replied that it was something like 100. The father replied. It was 102, so it wasn't 100, it was still 102 and 4/10, so little more than 102. It was 102, he said. Now the child says it was 102. Who said so? The doctor. So the father asks the father questions that who told you? Who said that you had 102 fever? At this the child replies that it was the doctor who had said. So we'll stop here for today. I hope this much, whatever we've read till now, is very clear to everyone. So children, please read the lesson well till we have covered, and we'll meet again in the next video where we'll be doing the rest of the part. So thank you children.